It's your girl T here, back with the TTime Tuesday vid, yeah? I know y'all are having a beautiful, blessed day because you're tea timers. It's absolutely what we do. Our affirmation of the day is, my ego is my alibi. Our ego is our alibi. We're tea timers, so we're going to use our ego to be our alibi. Don't mind the closet in the background. Again, it looks messy up there, but it's very organized and neat. It's just the camera angle. I don't come on here to be a camera whiz. I come on here to give you the information, y'all. I'm going to look down because I have a few notes. I was watching a movie. I said it in one of my shorts. I don't know if it's popped up yet, but I watched this movie called Hitman. And it was essentially about a guy who plays the part of a hitman for the police, but he actually doesn't. I won't ruin it for you, but it's basically, if you watch the movie, all about manifesting into characters who you want to become, or that are probably far away from the person that you're currently being in life, but you are acting as if, so to speak. And I got a little gem out of that movie that I wanted to share with you. He was talking about the Freud example. I don't know if some of y'all are familiar with this, but I thought I would go over it for those of you who aren't. I had never heard it explained like this, but to some of you who are psychology majors, this might be very basic information, but to me it was new news. I didn't hear it explained this way before. So there's three parts to our ego as per Freud. There's the id, the ego, and the superego. The id is where we have all of our pleasures, our wild side, so to speak, our desires. A lot of sexual drive comes from the id, where the superego is more of our logical side, more of our values, our morals, our conscious, like our conscious awareness, what we feel like we need to be in society, versus the id, which is just letting go and being and giving into our pleasures. And in the middle of all that is our ego, which is the moral compass between the two. And this is where we decide, based on our consciousness, what we need to take action on or what we need to act upon. So when people say the ego is the death of us, or it is not our friend, or we're acting out of ego rather than acting out of our higher self, it means that we're trusting in the 3D and what's going on in the 3D more than we're trusting in what we're creating up here or we're doing up here. So what I was thinking of when I was hearing all this is, why can't we use the ego to be our best friend? Like, the ego isn't all bad. I've told this to you in other videos that the ego back in the day was what kept us safe. It's still doing that, but in a different way, but it kept us safe from imminent danger. Like back in prehistoric days, it was keeping us safe from dinosaurs in the caveman era and things that were imminent dangers like fires and natural disasters that were happening. It would alert our system to know danger's coming, and then we would respond to that and keep ourselves safe. Now with the progress of mankind and the evolution of mankind, we don't have to go out and hunt for our food anymore. We don't have to go out and start a fire to keep warm. We have electricity and stuff like that. So, but our ego didn't evolve with the times. It's still trying to keep us safe from those things that we process as danger, etc. So that's why a lot of times we'll overreact to things that are triggers for us. Like that person cut us off in traffic, and it triggers from when we were a little kid and somebody did something that we perceived as ill to us, and then we just blow up on this person. Our ego is still keeping us safe in that situation. It's just not as detrimental as it would have been, 500-600 years ago. It's not life or death. So instead of making the ego our enemy, we can use the ego as our bestie. The ego is really great for showing us areas that we might still want to work on. Like if we are at work and somebody says something to us and it just completely pops us off. Like let's say I had a problem a lot at work where I felt like I wasn't getting scheduled, and I was a harder worker than a lot of the people that were being put on the schedule. And then I asked myself, how does that make me feel when I'm not getting put on the schedule? It makes me feel not chosen and unappreciative. Well, where else do I see these things come up in my life? Oh, I see it here, here, here. People aren't appreciating me, and I feel like I'm not chosen first. I feel like I'm a bit of last place. Oh, so I actually feel like I'm not chosen, not appreciated. So I work on those affirmations, and then I start seeing turns around in that area, etc. This is the map that we can do when we see areas continually popping up in our life and our ego is responding to it because it feels like it needs to keep us safe. And what keeps us safe? Putting us back into the homeostasis arena of us feeling comfortable where we were at, which is feeling unchosen, unappreciative, unloved, last choice. That puts us back to the place we're comfortable at. And knowing where we were comfortable at previously in our old identity is a good way to see where we're not showing up as our new self or our new personality or our new way of being, and just working on those areas to provide the validation to ourselves that we need internally for those moments to pass. Or the other option is to just talk to our ego and be like, ego, thanks for trying to keep me safe, but that has to do with my old ways. I don't roll like that anymore. I'm now the person that always gets chosen, always gets, appreciated, so I don't need to see that anymore. And kind of talking to our ego the same way we would a child, or to, nurturing somebody, one of our friends that was going through it, just telling them like, this is still working out for you, don't worry about it. Like, that doesn't mean those things, you're just adding that to the pot. It just means that you're getting chosen for a better shift, or the shifts aren't being given to you because they're garbage shifts, you're only getting the best shifts available. Nurturing, loving, giving, and caring towards ourselves is giving, loving, nurturing towards our ego, and letting our ego know that we are safe, which is why I tell you guys, when you're on a spiral and you feel like your world is out of control and you need to calm your thoughts down by telling yourself, I'm safe, I'm safe, I'm safe, repeatedly, which I taught to my son because he's a very emotional kid. I taught him to do those when he's getting really enraged. He's safe, he's safe, he's safe. It calms you right down because it explains to your nervous system as well as your ego that you're in a safe position and your body doesn't need to react to this because you're safe. And it trains your nervous system how to regulate itself instead of having to vent it out to somebody or punch a wall or however you used to do it. You're teaching yourself that you can internally regulate your nervous system just by using words that indicate to your body that you're safe. So when we're talking to our ego, we want to just talk to it like we would anything else, a friend, a loved one, because you are your ego. Your ego is you. So it is there to keep you safe, protected on the old program, so that they call it the monkey mind, they call it the voice within, your higher self, whatever. Your ego is there to keep you comfortable in the place that you're used to, your set point per se. That's why people say it's hard to get over your set point, because there are certain set points that we have for certain areas in our lives where, like as an example, if you're used to making $1,000 a month, if that's what you're used to, it's going to take a little bit of training to train yourself that you can surpass $1,000 a month and get to $2,000 a month or $10,000 or whatever you're aiming for. It's not impossible. It's definitely not hard. It's just about refocusing every time to retrain yourself as to who you are now. And I wanted to do this video to let you guys know that everything can be used in your favor. I mean, even if you didn't take anything out of what I said today, if you just walked around for the next week and said, I am perfect, I am loved, I am chosen, I'm wanted, everything in my life is perfect, the people around me are perfect, and those people you hold resentment to, like one of your parents or a brother, sister, or best friend who did you dirty, or your SP, and you just said, I forgive you, you've always been perfect, you've always been the perfect boyfriend, you've always been the perfect mom, you've always been the perfect brother, you've always been the perfect whatever, and you tell yourself that over and over so that you train your brain to know that everybody in your life's always been the perfect version of whoever you wanted them to be, and you've always been the perfect version, and your life has always been perfect, and you just have a surrounding message that everything in your life is perfect. You will start to see changes in your 3D. Your 3D will start emulating what it is that you're telling your 4D, because your 4D is like creation, printer, creation, printer. So if you are dominantly focusing on your life being perfect, people around you being perfect, and your history and your past being perfect, your life will start emulating that as perfect, because part of your ego subconscious's job is to match up what you see up here to what's out here. And if it sees that there is a separation between the two, like what you're picturing up here is not matching what's out here, it will orchestrate events, circumstances, move people, shift everything around until you have a matching input versus output of what you're viewing up here matching to what you're viewing out there. I did have a question from one of the subscribers. I don't want to make this video too long. She said, it's hard for me to understand how by changing myself, my 3D shifts. Well, your perception the way you manage your energy, and the belief system you hold up here is what is controlling what goes on out here. So it's like, have you ever had a time where you saw a person every single day and they were always the same to you and you could predict everything they do, and then one day their energy shifts and you look at them and they look like a completely different person, and it's like you haven't seen them before, and they show up as like a brand new version of themselves, and you're like, when did that person become so hot, or when did that person become so outspoken, or I never knew they were like this, or they told you one piece of information and it shifted your whole perspective of them and they looked new to you. That's how what you have up here can change what you see out here. It all is controlled. Like, you have to view your mind as the controller for the TV. Whatever you're clicking on the controller and you're telling to show up on the TV is what's going to project onto the TV, is what's going to project onto the 3D or the TV of life. Your thought processes up here output out to here. And if you ever doubt that, think of anything that you've received in your life, wanted or unwanted, and think back to the thoughts that you were having about that thing. Whether it's your SP, your money situation, your work situation, your spiritual situation, your peace of mind situation, think back to how you thought of those things before they actually showed up in your reality. And you will be able to trail back a thought process line of that thing showing up the way it did. Or look at a person that you absolutely can't stand and think of how you think of them before this person started showing up that way. Or maybe they showed up once and said something to you and it really got the best of you, and now you hate them, and everything they do pisses you off, and everything that they say pisses you off. But think back to the thoughts that you were having about this person the whole time until this time. I guarantee you everything that you created in your reality is dating back to thoughts and emotions to do with the thing you created. But anyways, I don't want to ramble on through this video. The point is, use your ego as your ally. Use everything in your reality as your ally, because everything is always going your way if you say it is. If the 3D is rigged in your favor, it has to be rigged in your favor. If your life has always been perfect and the people in it have always been perfect, it has to be so. But at the end of the day, it's up to you to prove that manifestation works for yourself, and then it becomes a thing. I can't convince you. You have to convince yourself. I love y'all, but not as much as you should be loving yourselves. Have a beautiful, blessed Tuesday. Bye.